Welcome to the Caps Locks and Chair Shots podcast with your host, Ed Burkeen.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, whatever, and wherever you may be listening to us. You have your ears locked in to the Caps Locks and Chair Shots podcast. My name is Ed Burkeen, I'm your host for these festivities, and not joining us tonight is the muscle of the podcast, future champion of something, and voice of all of Southeast Asia. He is the one, the only, the high babe, but he is not here. Also joining me, he is my arch nemesis, my tag team partner, and my very best friend. You know him from all around the internet, but you can only find his wrestling stuff right here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Daddy Bananas.
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing out there? I hope all of the 5 to 15 to 100,000 people that have the potential to listen to this will be listening to this.
All right, Danny boy. We have a lot of stuff we're going to talk about today. This is going to be, as always, a huge show. But let's start this show how we start every other show. And that is with our one big thing. What do you got, buddy?
For me, the Shield reunion might save Dean Ambrose's career in the WWE.
Okay, yeah, it could. But the one thing I want to talk about...
fake news. You want to talk about fake news?
What fake news do you think I want to talk about there, Danny?
You want to talk about Ty Dillinger?
Maybe. Jaime did bring it up. Apparently, and we'll get to his new name here in a second, but Ty Dillinger is going to wrestle David Arquette.
Fake news.
David Arquette is still a professional wrestler. Not the fact that he's wrestling Ty Dillinger, but at least Ty Dillinger's wrestling somewhere. But David Arquette, former world champion, David Arquette still has a job wrestling. How do you feel about that?
It's fake news. They're not. I cannot find this anywhere on the internet.
But still, David Arquette is still wrestling. How do you feel about David Arquette still wrestling?
I honestly had to look him up to remember who he was. I'm yawning. That's how much interest I have.
Whoa. You couldn't remember who David Arquette is?
Nope.
Mr. Courtney Cox?
Could not remember.
Star of Ready to Rumble?
I could not remember.
Former world champion in WCW.
When he got brought up earlier today in the chat, I was like, David Arquette. Name sounds familiar, but I can't remember.
Okay. Fair enough. Danny, when's Fastlane?
Sunday.
All right, so why don't we do a Fastlane preview to kind of kick off the show? And this Fastlane preview, it's sponsored by John Cena and the Little Jimmy Memorial School for the Invisible. And it was started by John Cena for a very special purpose, to give invisible people a place to learn. And John Cena felt very strongly about sponsoring this because, like invisible people, you can't see him either. So, Dan, we have 2 spots on the pre-show. One of them, what?
I hate you.
One of them is a match that I'm really excited to see, and it's going to be in front of nobody on the pre-show. Andrade, who doesn't feel the need to have a last name anymore, is going to take on Rey Mysterio. This should be on this is a main card, right?
This is a good match every time they do it, but this is my issue. We have seen this feud go on for months now, and it has seemingly came to an end at least 3 to 4 times, and yet it hasn't came to an end. There has to, are they just going to drag this out till after WrestleMania for some reason?
I mean, we've seen Becky and Charlotte go past a couple endings.
But here's the thing. They're always fighting for a belt, right?
Sure.
What are these 2 fighting for?
Mexican supremacy?
No. Because not once have either one of them cut a promo about that.
Well, that's the next logical step, is it not? I
don't know. Last week you and I did something that no one will ever hear, most likely. But over the course of this week, my take on wrestling has truly been a complete 180.
Fair enough. The second match on the we forgot to make a prediction. Who wins? Does it matter?
I'm going to go with Ray because Andrade won the last big match that they have, I believe. So I'm going to go with Ray this time because feud's got to keep going.
Oh, yeah, I think it's going to end at WrestleMania, and I think Andrade wins that one, so they're going to give Ray the victory here. So, we're separate there. New Day, Big E, and Xavier Woods are going to take on Rusev and Nakamura in a match that I don't care about. I don't care about any of the 4 people in here when they're in matches like this, and I really don't care about Rusev and Nakamura. Who has the U.S. belt? Is it one of them? I want to say.
Samoa Joe's the U.S. champion.
That's right. We're going to talk about that later on because I forgot that belt existed until Joe won it. Tuesday?
What do you mean? R-Truth was the best U.S. champion we've had in the last 5 years.
Oh, yeah, I'll give you that. All right. Anyway, back to the match. Do you care?
No, but I'm gonna go with Rusev and Naka just because I feel like the New Day is more of a supporting cast for Kofi right now.
I mean, this is like the pre-show poop, grab food, grab.
Yeah, I feel like this is their way of getting Kofi out to the ring. Actually,
I don't know. All right, so I don't care. New Day, maybe. But this card has the potential for something we're going to talk about here later on. There's several people that could be put into this pigeonhole. Let's start the show off with how Wikipedia lists the card, and that is the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos, will take on the former champions in The Miz and Shane in a match that will probably set up a Miz versus Shane Mania match. Am I wrong?
I really want Miz and Shane to win the titles back.
I just don't see it happening.
I don't either, but I also don't see a heel turn for Miz. And I don't think they're going to turn Shane heel either. Because there is no like corporate heels right now. And it would be stupid for them to have the baby face of corporate to be the. I don't care. Like, I don't see Steph and Tripp as heel, unless Vince is what you want to consider the heel one right now.
No, but I think Stephanie's pushing it. I
think Stephanie is playing the tweener, and I think this is the best Steph that I've ever seen as far as performer.
It's another match. I like the Miz. I'm a huge Miz fan. I just don't care about it, like, at all. So, nah. All right, the next match listed is for the SmackDown, or is it WW? It's the big belt on SmackDown, whatever you want to call it. But we're going to save that for last because I'm going to do a little fantasy booking and Dan's going to call me an idiot. So let's move on. The Women's Tag Team Championships are on the line as Sasha and Bayley, the inaugural Women's Tag Team Champions, are going to take on Tamina and Nia. They gotta let Nia and Tamina, right? They gotta let them win.
No, it's gonna be Bayley and Sasha that are gonna win this.
No, I don't see it.
Tamina and Nia are not draws. You got to look at it from a point of Mania. Tamina and Nia are not going to be draws in the women's tag title. What's going to be the draw? Sasha and Bayley most likely versus the Iconics.
That's just because you're in love with them.
No, honestly, no. I personally think I would rather see Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan in that match at Mania, but I think the Iconics are going to be the bigger draw against Bayley and Sasha. And the Iconics have been a tag team since basically day one of stepping foot in the WWE.
You've already made this point, and I already told you it doesn't matter, and I still don't think it matters.
I still think you're wrong.
I can see Sasha and Bayley are going to win, but that's mainly because they want to have Nia built up for whatever special match at Mania is going to be involved with the chicks. So,
I don't see Sasha and Bayley losing this match at all.
Yeah, I don't either. Let's move on. The Shield will take on the team of Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley. They made this important.
Do you really need to ask this?
Yeah, it's the Shield. They're going. Although, you know what? Maybe they don't. Maybe this reunion's short-lived, Maybe Dean turns on both of them and we have a three-way match at WrestleMania. Dean versus...
I thought you were saving the fantasy booking for later.
I'm just offering options. That's not where I'm going with this. I said maybe I could see it happening. Do I think it's going to happen? I'd say it's 50-50. But I think the Shield's got a role here. Although Fastlane
I would believe you more if you said it was 60-40 for it to not happen.
Fastlane is one of them pay-per-views where they'll let the heels go over in the majority of it to let the faces get the rebounds on Mania to make Mania better. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like this could be sneaky, very heel heavy. But I still like the Shield in this one. We have perhaps the most predictable match coming up, and that's Charlotte versus Becky, where if Becky wins, she's added to the WrestleMania match between Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. Is there any doubt in your mind that Becky wins this match?
Yeah, there is doubt. I have no way this match is going to go.
Are you serious? Dude, it is obvious.
Serious, because throw a separate.
Try that all again.
Becky's going to lose, but she's going to somehow end up in that Mania match. But I feel like it would be I feel like we're going to get swerved on this.
No, this is going to go down exactly how everybody thinks it's going to go down. Ronda Rousey's going to get involved. It's going to be a short match. She's going to cause Becky to win by disqualification, by beating up Becky. I think Charlotte's going to then beat up Ronda Rousey. That's going to take a lot of the time earmarked for this match if Becky is legit hurt. Becky's going to be in Mania. You have your triple threat, and that's how this is going to go.
Speaking of Ronda, did you see that viral video that's going around?
Enlighten me.
About her just calling wrestling fake. It's all staged, and she's done playing their act, and she's going to do and say whatever the hell she wants. Like, this was on her vlog. I don't know if you're better off going to watch it and then giving me your opinion on it. I can't tell if it's a shoot or if it's a work.
Well, given the promo that she cut on Monday, it's probably a work. But that could also be from years and years and years ago, too. When she legit felt that way. So
No. It was recent. You watch the vlog, you'll see it.
Well, maybe it's a work. I mean, I don't think she would do that, but I could be wrong. So you got Charlotte in this match.
No, I got Becky, but I wouldn't be surprised if Charlotte won.
Okay. I'm going to go with Becky, but it's going to be by disqualification. We got a match that nobody cares about. The Revival take on Aleister Black and Ricochet and Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. The Revival lose. I don't know. Black and Ricochet probably win the Raw Tag Team titles, right? Probably.
Well, here's the issue with that. Is Ricochet and Black, spoiler alert, are in the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic on NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know if they're going to give them the belts for that. If they're going to give them the Raw Tag belts. Because I have a feeling they're probably going to lose in the finals. But then it would just be confusing to have a main roster tag team lose to an up-and-coming NXT tag team. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I don't think the Revival's going to win, so that means Chad Gable and Bobby Roode. People we literally haven't seen on television in forever, and when we did on Monday, they were complaining that Black and Ricochet.
Dude, this is probably the pay-per-view that I've been most intrigued with since Rumble.
So it was better than the one last month?
Yeah, exactly. I was waiting for you to pick up on that.
Okay. Give me a pick.
The Revival, just because I don't see either of the other two teams winning.
They've been jobbed out continuously for like the last 2 months. But alright.
I don't know, man. This is a really weird card.
Nobody wins this match.
When you break it down match by match,
it's terrible.
It's a really weird card. It's weird. It has me intrigued.
Okay, I get you. And that's what they're going for, so I guess they're working. The final match will be Daniel Bryan versus Kevin Owens. Now, I said we're going to leave this one to the end because I wanted to do a little fantasy booking, and I think Dan's going to call me an idiot.
Yeah, I am.
We know Daniel Bryan has one of the, whatever you want to call, a former Wyatt family member. Rowan, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep going.
And Kevin Owens has said he's all alone and doesn't need anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know where I'm going, right? That we're going to see a return here?
Where you're going.
That Sami Zayn's going to come back?
I don't know if he's cleared.
He doesn't need to be cleared.
He does.
No, because he needs to have a steel chair, bash Rowan in the back a few times, then turn on Kevin Owens, get 4 more weeks of recovery time where him and Owens finally get their Mania match, freeing up Kofi Kingston to take on Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania and give everybody what they want. It's not far-fetched, right?
No, actually, no.
It makes sense.
It wouldn't be terrible.
But
it wouldn't be terrible, but that exactly means that it won't happen.
I know.
Because that actually wasn't bad. I'm not going to yell at you, which is disappointing for me.
Very, because it's more compelling when you argue with me. But that's going to break down what's going to happen on Sunday. Let's talk about what happened on last Monday. And this Raw recap is brought to you by the ass stenchion cord. Used by the military, the ass stenchion cord is designed to put tension on your gluteus maximus to make it shaped a lot better. For a better badonkadonk, be sure to plug in the ass tension cord. All right, Daniel.
Is it true that product was originally tested on Billy Gunn?
He is actually the man that created it. He's also the spokesman. This was Raw as predictable to you as it was to me.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it.
I mean, yeah, it was one of the better Raws. I mean, we saw a new champion. We had somebody get their championship back. And we saw what they've been teasing for a couple of years, and that is the Shield looks to be a cohesive unit. So, I mean, what was your favorite thing? What was your favorite takeaway from it, Daniel?
Dude, the Shield are united. Come on. You didn't even have to ask that.
Were you happy with the way they did it, where Dean was kind of...
Yeah, I was.
Back and forth, and then finally joined up when he got his ass kicked?
Dude, I'm so lost. Who got the title back? Who got their title back on
Raw? Ronda Rousey. She got her belt back after throwing it at the feet of Stephanie McMahon.
I never even counted that as losing it.
I mean, it was blasphemy, so, at least according to Stephanie McMahon, as Dan digs around through his underwear drawer looking for something.
My socks drawer. I'm getting a thick pair of socks because my feet are cold. Thank you.
That's what. Okay.
You're lucky. You're lucky. I turned the camera off while I was changing my pants.
Yeah, because nobody wants to see that. Not even. Never mind. We're not going to go there. All right.
Your girl does.
She's actually said quite the opposite on this show. Bobby Lashley is our new Intercontinental Champion.
No, he's not.
He's not?
No, Finn Balor's still the IC champ.
Did I miss something?
Obviously.
Apparently I did. Let's look this up real quick, because I must have...
Are you gonna edit this out? I hope.
No, I'm not. We're 100% live and unedited, Daniel. Did I just read something just wrong?
Most likely, like you do every week.
Or are you wrong? The suspense will kill you. We're going to find out here in a few minutes when I click the right link. All right, so let's talk about what else happened on Raw. And this is actually a major topic point that I wanted to cover earlier in the show, but I kind of teased it. I kind of let it go. Is Ruby Riott being jobbed out of the WWE? Like the
No,
revival?
I don't think so. I think they're high on her. I think she gets the title eventually.
I mean, does
No
she?
one's taking that title off Ronda unless it's Becky or Charlotte. Are you looking at my screen, by the way?
No, I'm not. I'm trying to read.
Just look at my screen.
Okay, I'm wrong. I was wrong. Anyway, let's go back to that jobbing out topic. I mean, Dean Ambrose kind of seemed that way. He had a few major losses here lately. Ruby Riott, I mean, what was her match at the Elimination Chamber? What, like 45 seconds? And then she loses again on Raw.
10 minutes, and then she went 10 minutes on Raw.
If the next night, yeah, and then what'd she get last night? A minute and a half? Like, it seems like they're purposely trying to get her to quit, but that could just be me. Would you like? Are you done with Raw? You got anything else you wanna say there?
No, I'm good with Raw. I thought Raw was a lot better this week than last week.
Okay, I agree with you, but it was also the go home show before a pay-per-view that everybody kind of overlooks. So we'll see. Shall we move on to SmackDown?
Let's do it, brother.
All right. This SmackDown recap is brought to you by Chef Boyardee breakfast platters. You can find them absolutely nowhere but Big E Langston, or as we like to call him, Chef Boyardee, brings to you his breakfast platters, a great way to start your day. All right, so Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens kind of get into it. We see Mustafa Ali. He looks to play a part in this. Was this meant for Sami Zayn instead of Ali? Like, was this is Sami Zayn's spot, right? And they just threw Ali in there as a placeholder?
I don't know. That's tough. That's a really good question. I guess I should say yes, just because, but really that's more of an I don't know, because who knows what they want to do anymore with these guys. I don't feel like Mustafa Ali should be in the main event picture over guys like AJ Styles and Randy Orton.
Yeah, AJ cut a pretty weird promo, didn't he? And then Orton kind of interrupted him. He's openly advocating for another face to take his spot. And then Randy Orton comes in and basically says, "What are you doing, dude?" It screwed me up. It really did. I thought the segment was terrible. And it clearly set up a match between the two that I'm really shocked.
We're going to get that as a Mania match. Do we get a good RKO spot at Mania this year?
I don't...
Nothing tops the Rollins RKO, right?
No. I still think the Evan Bourne one was the best.
No way, man.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you.
No, that was the best RKO.
The Bourne one was so much easier to connect with than the Rollins one.
There was one he did to Rey Mysterio. As Mysterio's going for the West Coast pop, and Mysterio's about 7-8 feet in the air, and Orton jumps up and grabs him, and it looks like Mysterio gets almost 45 degrees up and down when he hits. That was pretty good too. So, what does AJ have a top rope maneuver? I mean, maybe he's
got the phenomenal elbow.
Or maybe he's going for like a Pele kick and somehow it happens there.
I feel like that would end up in a broken neck.
Yeah, probably, but I mean, the RKO is one of the safest finishing maneuvers there is, so.
I don't know coming out of a Pele kick, though.
I don't think we're going to see a big one, but I mean, that's for a different show when we do our season finale where we talk about the next WrestleMania. We have a new champion, and I think that's where I screwed it up. I got the two shows confused. Samoa Joe is our new United States champion. Now, does this bring an end to our 7-second dance breaks, Daniel?
I feel like they could have kept the belt on Truth a little bit longer.
Did the belt leave our Truth because Carmella is leaving the WWE.
No.
You don't think?
No. Why would Carmella leave the WWE? I don't think they. I think WWE has proven not to give a shit about that.
I mean, okay. Just because, what? I guess this would be one of the sins of the father don't pertain to the son kind of thing, where it was all right for Triple H to do it last generation, but the new generation's okay with it, kind of things.
I mean, maybe, but also you just think about all the nudes that have been leaked and wrestlers that didn't get released. If they release Carmella over some of the other female stars who have had a bunch of stuff released and they weren't released,
I mean, is breaking up a marriage worse than getting tag teamed on video and then having said video released?
I want you to let that sink in, and you answer that question yourself.
I mean,
we're talking about a PG show.
There's no deception in a tag team. You kind of know what's coming.
I'm just saying, we're talking about a PG
There's
show.
so much bad stuff in what I just said. Let's get off the topic, shall we? Let's just.
I think they gave Truth the belt to kind of reclaim him as a true superstar. Listen. As a true superstar after being attacked by Nia Jax, who was a woman. And we are recording this on International Women's Day, and I just said something extremely not feminist.
Well, I mean, it's the truth, though. It's the truth. Yeah, so, and then we have all that, and then, does this mean Samoa Joe is a mid-carder for life in the WWE? It's at least 3 months before he gets in the main event picture again? You know
Probably.
what I mean? So,
Yeah, probably.
I want to hear your thoughts on the whole Charlotte and Becky thing. Talk to me about it.
I enjoy the Becky Lynch Charlotte thing just because I feel like it's two of the best women in the industry, and you just can't do much without them. You know what I mean? Those two are two of the top females in the industry, let alone the WWE. So when you got those two, I'm completely okay with it as long as they're going back and forth for a belt. I like it a lot more than the Sasha Charlotte thing that we had a couple years ago.
I'm thoroughly convinced that Vince McMahon does not like Sasha Banks since you bring it up. I mean, it was terrible, but I'm done with them. I'm done with it. I feel like I've seen that match over and over, and injecting Ronda Rousey into it's not going to make me want to watch it. I just think they can both be served by doing something else and maybe going somewhere else, because there's them two, and then there's nobody really else on either show that could draw the headlines and maybe put on the match that they do. It's just I've seen that match so many times, I can't do it no more. Maybe that's just me.
I'm trying to agree with you, but I can't. I enjoyed the feud.
Nah. Well, we'll see. Maybe it'll be something different. Maybe, Becky wins and they'll go to Mania, and maybe it'll be the best match of all time. We'll see. I don't care. Let's go to Jaime for his fighter match of the show.
Well, guys, you'll see the John Jones fight. It was very controversial towards the ending.
Oh, but
because John Jones threw the knee.
All right, that's enough of making fun of Jaime. That's enough. That fight.
In all seriousness, I actually will give you a UFC fight. Usman versus Woodley was a really good fight. You got to see some great technical work, and Usman dominated the fight. So there you go, Jaime.
All right, that fight or match of the show was brought to you by Dorit's official artificial man buns. If you want to look like a douchebag every day of the week, but you just can't grow the hair, pick up Dorit's man buns in 8 different hair colors. specifically designed to make you look like a douche. You can also look for a new product brought out by Dora's Hair Company, and that is beard glitter to complete the douche package. You can find those packaged together in stores by Christmas. All right, we're going to do a little quick hitter. Daniel, give me a bold WrestleMania prediction.
Seth Rollins leaves with the Universal Championship.
I'm not sure that's... Well, yeah, okay, that's pretty... Didn't he win the Royal Rumble? I mean, and we know Brock Lesnar may not be back with us after Mania.
I still think it's bold.
I don't. That's predictable. That's the exact opposite of bold. That's italic. No. Try again. We'll come back to you. My bold WrestleMania prediction: Lars Sullivan wins the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and gets released from the company 6 months later.
That's bold.
I mean,
that's really bold.
They might as well. They haven't done anything with the rest of the winners anyway. So, on a more serious topic, the WWE said goodbye to a legend, and it seems like that's happening more and more as the legends do get older. But King Kong Bundy has passed away. He was in the main event of WrestleMania 2 in the classic blue cage against Hulk Hogan. Do you have any thoughts on King Kong Bundy there, buddy?
Rest in peace.
Fair enough. All right, Daniel,
Go ahead.
let's do your segment of the show, and that is your Hot Girl of the Show. And this Hot Girl of the Show is brought to you by Jaime's English Tutorial. If you want to learn how to do awkward pauses, inject words that have no business being in a sentence, and mispronounce everything, pick up Jaime's English Tutorial. You can find that absolutely nowhere where books are sold. Daniel, give me your Hot Girl of the Show.
It is going to be a wrestler that is signed to a company. She is single. I told you I was making a change in 2019, and I'm only going to try to do single girls.
Okay.
She used to be in a relationship with the bad boy, Joey Janela, and that is Penelope Ford.
You're gonna have to show me a picture because you know how much I dislike Joey Janela and everything about him.
All right.
And who broke up with who in that situation? Do I hate Joey Janela more?
I don't know.
As we're waiting for Dan to show me the picture to see if I agree with him, we're gonna do our, I guess you can call it our main topic of the show, and this is something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time. We just never really got around to it. I picked some professional sports franchises. Yeah, he's an idiot for letting that go, by the way. Good gravy. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, he's an idiot. Anyway, these pro teams, we've matched, or at least I've matched with a wrestler.
Do you want me to stay on this one for the rest of the show?
Kinda, yeah. No, go back to yourself. So, anyway.
So you don't get distracted?
Yes, absolutely. Pro teams, 2 wrestlers. So, Daniel, are you ready for the list?
Yeah, if you're ready for this.
Okay, so John Cena. What do we know about John Cena? He is a 16-time world champion. He's pretty much moved on to Hollywood, and not a lot of people like him. You know what franchise in the NBA, you're a big basketball guy, is a 16-time champion? It's in Hollywood.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But
that not a lot of people like.
I think there might have been an NFL team that would suit him a little bit better, considering he's from Massachusetts.
I get that. I thought, basically, it was the fact that the Lakers are 16-time champions. That's how this whole thing got started. So, let's move on. The Baltimore Ravens are Chris Jericho. And let me tell you why. They had a good run, 2000, 2004, somewhere in there. They won a Super Bowl in that time, right?
Yeah, it's 2000.
Okay. They had a hot streak a few years ago, won a world championship a few years ago, correct?
Could have won 2 or 3.
But they only won 1.
Wasn't for fucking Lee Evans.
And then they're going to be middle of the road. They're going to be heard of, but probably not surprise anybody. Kind of like Chris Jericho. Fair? Is it fair?
Chris Jericho is one of the hottest commodities in professional wrestling.
I'm just saying I haven't heard about him in a while. He hasn't popped up across my news feeds anywhere, so... I'm sorry?
Nothing, go ahead.
Let's move on. The Chicago Cubs. There were a lot of choices here, and it was mainly because of my hatred for Chicago. John Bradshaw Layfield. Middling around for much of their existence. They were entertaining around 1998, won a title towards the end of their run, and completely insufferable. Is it fair?
That's a tough one because the Cubs are relevant again. John Bradshaw's not.
I mean, if you follow the rugby circles, he's a big supporter. But yeah, you're right. Then this will go toward our baseball preview, which we're eventually going to do. I don't think the Cubs are all that relevant and won't be this year. I don't think the Cubs make the playoffs this year.
That's a hot take.
Yeah, but that's what you can expect when Dan and I do our official baseball preview. We may throw some wrestling in there as well.
On a podcast that Ed and I are going to be announcing here right now. It's going to be under a different umbrella. Ed, would you like to give the name reveal?
This was inspired by board games. Dan and I have been into them for a long time. And we thought, Dan's in Baltimore. I'm in Ohio. And the B&O Railroad is not just a square on Monopoly. It used to run 50 feet from my house. So the B&O podcast will commence with Dan and I talking about anything we want to talk about. Maybe professional wrestling. It may be sports. It may be the next John Cena movie coming out. We don't know. We haven't figured it out. Nobody's figured it out. We're going to find out when I press record. What do you think, Danny?
As long as people don't confuse it and call it the BO podcast, we're completely good.
Well, I mean, neither of us are small guys, and there is a little bit of stench that goes on between us, so... I mean, it's possible. But let's get back to the topic. My St. Louis Blues. I have a terrible tattoo on my arm. They're my favorite sports team of all time. But I got to thinking. The Blues, their first years in existence were really, really close. Just ridiculously close to winning the Stanley Cup, but unfortunately went up against two of the most prolific franchises in the history of the NHL in Boston and Montreal. And I got to thinking, what other guy, very popular, got really, really close, but never won the big one? Roddy Piper. One of my favorites.
Roddy Piper also reminds me of, very similar to the Blues, the Buffalo Bills.
Not always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
We can put the Blues and the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. Yeah, that is sadly true. Which also used to include the Houston Astros until they won the World Series. I mean,
Cleveland Browns.
No. The Browns are in a completely different category. They're in a completely different category.
God, I just love digging you in the holes that you're going to absolutely hate me for.
Let's move on. The Boston Celtics. Arguably the greatest franchise of all time. I don't think it's arguable. They're the best NBA franchise ever, are they not? Just for what they did from the 50s through the 70s?
You'll have people argue, which I don't have a take either way, honestly. I think
argue with who? The Lakers? I can get the Lakers. I understand that.
Yeah. The Lakers is what I was going with, yeah.
I was going to say, but the people that argue the Knicks or the Bulls need to be smacked in the face. No. Interesting side note. You know who is the only other team to win an NBA title during that vaulted Red Auerbach run with the Celtics? The St. Louis Hawks. And Bob Pettit. They were the only team to win the NBA championship.
You mean the Atlanta Hawks?
St. Louis Hawks.
Okay.
St. Louis Hawks. Anyway, Ric Flair and the Boston Celtics. How do we feel about that? That's good, right? That's
yeah. I think I think that's fair.
I mean, both of them have won a lot of championships that very few people have actually seen live and remember. So I think.
I think that's a very good comparison.
All right, the Green Bay Packers. They've been really great at times. Have a lot of very hardcore fans. Not a lot of people hate them, but there's not a lot of people that like them outside of the very cold North. Kind of like Randy Orton.
Yeah. You're gonna have to sell me on this one.
Okay.
You're gonna have to sell me.
All right. How many championships has Randy Orton won? 13? 11? Something like that? He's won a lot. Packers won a lot of Super Bowls and NFL championships before it was called a Super Bowl. They've been really good most of their runs, kind of like Orton. They've had a few stretches where they were terrible, rated RKO. A lot of people are really hardcore fans of Randy Orton. I mean, he's the best guy ever. I was in the Marine Corps with one. Granted, the guy had an IQ of about 14, but he was a huge Randy Orton fan. Kind of like a lot of Packers fans. But outside of that, there's a lot of people that overlook Randy Orton. There's a lot of people that overlook the Packers.
See, I don't think anybody overlooks what the Packers have done in their past, but this is why I'm saying you're going to have to sell me on that, because I don't think Orton is Packer-esque. I think Orton is just a middle-of-the-road guy who was a corporate guy that Vince loved, and that was it. I personally think Orton's overrated. Even in his prime, I think he was overrated.
And this is going to hurt me greatly to say, but Aaron Rodgers is overrated.
What? I couldn't hear you. You broke up.
Aaron Rodgers is overrated, and the Packers will be a middle-of-the-road team and probably second or third in the North and won't make the playoffs. We'll discuss that further on the NFL preview, and I hope I'm wrong, and maybe they trade for Antonio Brown and give the Steelers a third-round pick.
Bro, nobody wants to trade for him right now. Jesus.
And 6 GMs came out today and said they do not want Antonio Brown.
He is a disaster right now.
It is what it is. All right, we got 2 more left. The New York Yankees. The Pinstripers, whatever you want to call them. They're Triple H. Their greatness cannot be argued. No one outside a select few really likes them that much. In fact, they're hated greatly.
I disagree with you.
And if you really, really, really sit down and think about it, Triple H may be the best wrestler ever. The Yankees
100%
may be.
You can make that argument.
The Yankees may be the best franchise ever.
Yes, and that's where, when you sent me this list, and I got the Ric Flair, and you compared him to the Celtics, I was like, no, Ric Flair's the Yankees. But let me keep reading. And then you put Triple H and compared him to the Yankees. Only thing I disagree with about this is that I think everyone loves Triple H now. They love what he's done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
They love what he's done with NXT now.
Mm-hmm.
But no matter who you talk to outside of New York, everyone's always going to hate the Yankees. I don't think the Yankees will ever be loved. And I think Triple H will go down as one of the most loved people in this industry.
You see, that's where I disagree, and I think you living in an AL East city kind of biases you. Because the Yankees are fun to watch now, for the simple fact that...
Oh, no, I'll agree with that. The Yankees are...
Well, people love to watch them the same way people love to watch Triple H now. But people love to watch the Yankees because you could either have 3, 4, 5 hitters hit 9 home runs in a game, or strike out 16 times in the same game.
I always hope for the latter.
I mean, nobody wants to watch strikeouts. It's
on the contrary, I love watching strikeouts.
Only if you got, Chris Sale and Clayton Kershaw on your fantasy team.
Well, no, see, look, this is where a lot of people don't understand my infatuation with strikeouts. Is when I watch baseball, I love to either sit straight behind the catcher, or I love to sit like dead center, because I love watching the intricacies of pitching, and I'm just going to end it there because I realize that I am going to go off on a huge tangent. You and I are going to take this somewhere down the B&O Railroad, and we can do this another time, and I can explain to you why I love baseball so much and why I love pitching more than hitting.
Boy, that sounds like we got a topic for our first show. Our baseball preview and why we love the sport. And maybe some wrestling stuff. We'll see. All right, the last one, the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're Samoa Joe. Do you need me to explain this, Daniel?
No.
You get it?
I get it. 100%. I'm not a huge hockey guy, but I get it.
All right, well, just in case our fans, all 5 of you, don't understand, Samoa Joe was really good a long time ago. And by a long time ago, I mean 6 years ago in TNA. He has the promise to be good again, much the same way Austin Matthews and John Tavares have people in Toronto believing that maybe this is the year they end the longest Stanley Cup drought in the current NHL. But they won't be, because the Maple Leafs will choke the same way that Samoa Joe will not be in the main event. I think this is... I could probably have come up with better, but doing this in 5 minutes, I think it worked. What do you think? What do you think the overall is, Daniel?
I think you've done a pretty good job here, Ed. I think you put a lot of thought into this, a lot more thought than I would have. And I think you did a really good job here. I'm very proud of you, and I will give you a golf clap.
Now, we did 8 teams there.
Now, I'm giving you a golf clap because you didn't compare any organization to the greatest golfer in the history of the world.
Shooter McGavin?
Tiger Woods.
Okay. When he wins as many majors as Jack Nicklaus, let me know. Or Arnold Palmer.
Tiger's the greatest golf player ever.
He's the most dominant.
He's the greatest of all time.
No. That's another conversation we're going to have. Dominance and greatness are 2 different things. They're 2 different things. And I don't believe he's the greatest golfer of all time. But anyway, that brings us to the end of our show. Daniel, you want to tell us, did we miss out on anything? I mean, we got time. Did we miss out on anything? Anything at all? Sports related, whatever. Did we miss out on anything?
I think we did a pretty good job.
How about the Cleveland Browns made a trade today?
They did?
Yeah, they got a guy from New York for like a 6th round pick, a defender. Olivier Vernon, I think.
That's actually kind of a big deal. Olivier Vernon's not a bad player at all.
Well, let me
just double check this really quick.
Let's take a look at this. Odell Beckham Jr. is linked to the Browns. Yeah, Olivier Vernon traded to the Browns from the Giants for Kevin Zeitler. So there you go. The Browns look even more scary.
But you know what I was thinking of? Like, they signed Kareem Hunt, which I get it. They signed him for a really low contract.
Right.
But what was the point of signing him when you have Nick Chubb?
Dual threat in the backfield and somebody that can catch a ball better than Chubb can.
Okay.
Change of pace back. He's plus he's fast. So now you got somebody that can maybe return punts.
There's no way he's going to return punts, dude.
I'm just saying you got versatility in the backfield, and then you bring in Olivier Vernon, Odell Beckham Jr. is there.
Odell Beckham Jr. is not going to fucking end up in Cleveland.
I'm just saying there's rumors. Just put it all together. Kareem Hunt, Odell Beckham Jr., Antonio Brown, Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, Jarvis Landry, buddy.
That I am so happy that you asked me what we missed, because I completely skipped over the fact that you said Tiger Woods doesn't have more major wins than Arnold Palmer.
He doesn't have the most ever. I may have gotten the wrong one. Jack Nicklaus, I said, actually.
And you said, let me know when he gets more majors than Jack Nicklaus.
And then I muttered Arnold Palmer under my breath because I wasn't confident in saying it that loud. But yes, I was wrong.
Yeah, you're way wrong. Arnold Palmer has 7. Tiger has double the amount that Arnold has.
And how many does Jack Nicklaus have?
18.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, when Tiger Woods creates his own drink that is delicious, let me know.
Tiger juice, dude. What do you mean?
Hey, I know Tiger juice was really popular with a lot of waitresses, but That's something that'll never go in my mouth.
I think if
And
that
let's
was
move
funny,
on.
you might be singing a different story.
I mean, it depends on how much money I'm going to get before and after. And if it's cash. I mean, I don't deal with personal checks a lot. You can never find a place to cash them. Has to be cash.
And this is where we decide
To say goodbye. So, Dan, we're actually got a shorter show, but hey, it seems better. We missed Jaime. Adam's kind of whenever he wants to show up, he's here. So, not terrible. You want to do this again?
Yeah, absolutely. We can do this again Sunday night.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. But that'll
I'm
wrap. Go ahead.
No, I'm not doing any plugs tonight.
Okay. Fair enough. That's going to bring an end to the Caps, Locks, and Chair Shots podcast. We'd like to thank you all for listening. And as always, if you're not down with us, we got 2 words for you.
Keep listening.